going to teach you how to do the thrill, fill and spill. But don't panic, it's not a dance style, but it is a fabulous way to create a potted garden that will turn heads. First, pick out the star of the show, the perfect pot. My choice, a Primo Light lily pot in attention-grabbing purple. It's extra light and extra showy. The thrill plant should be the prima donna of your display, so something that's bold and eye-catching with a little bit of height. I'm using a striking leucadendron here called Burgundy Sunset. It has gorgeous flowers through the autumn and winter, but really you would plant this plant for its foliage alone. The foliage is so dark that it's almost black, and you want to position your thrill plant at the back of the container. This stuff is the bee's knees. It gives new plants a healthy start and helps them settle nicely into their new home. Now to the second leading lady, the fill plant. Now this is the plant that you can really rely on to fill out the container. Now I like to choose something that's a little bit shorter and a little bit rounder than the thriller at the back, and this is the perfect choice. So it's another leucadendron that's called Harvest and has these beautiful spring flowers that are as gorgeous in the garden as they are in the house. So now the finishing touch, the spill plant. Now this is a beauty that will tumble or cascade down the edge of the pot. Something that completes the picture, so you get 3 layers of interest. Now this is a great plant for this. It's called Dichondra Silver Falls. It has silver foliage, so a great contrast, and it tumbles so long that it looks like a wedding veil. This is potted perfection for a sunny spot, but how about this for a flamboyant, shade-loving combo? Round of applause, please.
Indoor plants are one of the hottest home styling trends right now, and I reckon right here has got to be the perfect place to show you some of my faves and introduce you to some new indoor plants. Check out this beauty here. With its Swiss cheese-like leaves, the fruit salad plant is a fabulous way to green up a boring spot in your house. It's also a monster of a plant and it's quite unpredictable, so let it go wild. Now this little beauty thrives on neglect. This is Zanzibar Gem. It loves really low light conditions and you're only going to need to water it less than 10 times a year. If you've got a high ceiling and you're looking for a plant with real wow factor, you can't go past the bird of paradise. It loves a warm spot with a constant temperature and it'll add a lovely tropical vibe to your space. And what about this one for another plant with height and structure? This is a Kentia Palm and I reckon it'll add some Art Deco elegance to your place. This is Devil's Ivy. It's the perfect trailing plant for those with a not so green thumb. It's as tough as old boots and doesn't mind a low light spot. And speaking of things that are tough, this is mother-in-law's tongue. It really is one of the hardiest indoor plants you can get. Tall or small, lush or spiky, now you know there is an indoor plant for your place.
You can pop it, boil it, barbecue it, make it into flour and even eat it raw. Boy is corn one versatile veg. Spring's the time to get these sweeties in the ground, so you'll be picking garden fresh cobs in summer. Pick a warm, sunny spot and then dig lots of compost and organic matter through the soil before you do your planting. And if you want fabulous yields of sweet, juicy corn, try this variety, super sweet. Grow this one and you'll be hooked. Sweet corn is a social butterfly. It likes to be planted in groups or blocks. This aids pollination and you get a better crop. Corn is such a space hog, but you can underplant it to make your patch more productive. Planting things like leafy greens, which are fast growing, or spreading vines like pumpkin or squash are really handy crops to plant beneath your towering corn stalks. Water the young seedlings in with a good dose of sea salt to really kickstart strong root growth, and keep applying it throughout the growing season. Sweet corn is a fast-growing, heavy feeder, so make sure you give the plants fortnightly doses of power feed for tomatoes and veggies. You'll get strong, healthy plants and a super crop of sweet corn. I'm going to top off the beds with a sugarcane or straw mulch to help the soil retain moisture and keep the weeds down. And here's a harvest tip for you. You'll know your corn is ready to harvest when the silks, that's this part here, turn from green to brown. You can also do the fingernail test. If the juice that comes out is milky, then you'll know those corn cobs are ripe and ready to harvest.
If your kill rate with indoor plants is higher than your success rate, oh dear, then I've got some problem-solving tips for you. Although they're stuck inside, you'd be surprised how often indoor plants come under attack from pests. If you've noticed little black flying things hanging around your indoor pots, then you've got an outbreak of fungus gnats. Now these tiny little things can actually cause your plant to wilt and slow its growth rate down. Because they live in the potting mix, the control solution is simple. A dunk in a dilution of eco-neem. Pop your pot into soak until the bubbles stop. Then leave it somewhere to drain before letting it back inside. Too much water can be a death sentence for indoor plants. Soggy potting mix starves the roots of oxygen and can affect plant health and growth. Overwatered plants may have yellowing leaves, burnt leaf tips or wilting leaves. My rule, do the poke test and only water your houseplants when the potting mix feels dry. And don't let water pool around the roots. You should tip out water from self-watering pots or sources. On the other hand, potting mix, if left neglected, can sometimes set like concrete, and this stops the water getting down to the roots where it's needed. The solution is another dunk. This time in a solution of Ecohydrate. This stuff will help evenly wet the soil and rejuvenate the plant. And my last tip is simple. Read the label the plant comes with, because on here you're going to find out if it likes basking in full sun or greening up a dark corner.
Raw raspberry vegan cheesecakes. I bet you thought you'd never hear that in a sentence, but these lush cakes are gluten, refined sugar and dairy free, but certainly not free from flavour or goodness. So the base of these cakes are made up with a mixture of almond meal and medjool dates, which I've just blitzed together with a little bit of salt. Using about a tablespoon, flatten it down and pop it into my baking tray. You'll see that I've cut up little strips of baking paper so that I can easily pop the cakes out when they're set. Now it's time to combine all the yummy ingredients for the cheesecake filling. I'm using about 200 grams of raw cashews that have been soaked in water for at least 4 hours. This just helps with digestion. Pop in some coconut oil and some thickened coconut cream. Next, to cut through all the creaminess and the fattiness of the cashews and coconut cream, I'm adding some freshly squeezed lemon juice, as well as some lemon zest. Now for a little bit of sweetness, I'm adding some pure maple syrup and some pure vanilla extract. Now I'm going to blitz the mixture until it's nice and smooth, scraping down the sides of the bowl as needed, and then I'll add in my raspberries. Ooh, this is looking pretty and pink. Now we can fill our cheesecake molds. Now these are ready to go into the fridge to firm up at least overnight. You can even put them in the freezer, but allow them to come to room temperature before serving. But before I do that, I'm going to top them with one fresh raspberry each. They just look so pretty. For that extra special touch, I like to drizzle these cakes with a little melted dark chocolate. Now all I need is some friends to share these with.
And what do you know?
Ah! Would you care for a raw raspberry vegan cheesecake?
What do you think? It's really light and creamy.